Start the recording. All right. So, welcome to the Power of Local Flying Labs webinar series. And thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Oyanga. I'm Project and Community Coordinator at WeRobotics, and I will be hosting today's webinar. So today we will be featuring Sierra Leone, Jamaica, and La Réunion Flying Labs activities and projects. And before we get started with our Flying Labs presentations, I would like to give a very brief introduction for those who are not familiar with our work. Today, given the mounting challenges that are arising from the new technology, the real question we face is whether we end up creating shared prosperity or increased concentration of wealth for a few only. And the technology itself isn't going to create shared prosperity. We at WeRobotics believe that people will decide through more inclusive and democratic fourth industrial revolution. Our number one priority is the local. We believe in the power of local. This means that we invest in local experts, local engineers, and local leaders. It's to ensure that social challenges are solved efficiently and sustainably by the local experts who are actually best placed to address these challenges. They have the skills and the technology to do a lot more and a lot faster. So we do this by globally co-creating flying labs, which are local knowledge hubs that are run entirely by local experts who we train, equip, and support as needed. We have built the core infrastructure to enable these flying labs to become self-sustaining. And currently we have flying labs in more than 25 countries. And flying labs also train each others and support each others. They also create ecosystems that connect the key actors in governments, in other industries across their regions and in their countries. And we have built this global network of more than 25 flying labs in just 2 years. And all this is driven by the local demand. So we want to continue supporting our local partners and this demand for more inclusive and equal opportunity and local leadership. We want to invest in hundreds of local flying labs and work on hundreds and millions of projects, improving the lives of millions of people. So that's it for our introduction, and now we will start with the presentation of our flying labs. After the presentation, we will open the floor for question and answer session. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, please feel free to also write them and send it to us by chat.
Hey. Hello, everyone. My name is Koenguma Bemba. I am the coordinator at Sierra Leone Flying Labs. You can follow us on Twitter at SL_Flying Labs or reach us via email at the following web address, sierraleone@flyinglabs.org. So this is our first webinar and hopefully the first of many. We were established in May 2019. The story behind our establishment was a colleague who had previously worked with other flying labs, was visiting Sierra Leone and saw the opportunity for us to establish the Sierra Leone branch of Flying Labs. He had visited us on several occasions and visited my own institution, And the common theme each of the partner organizations had was we had previously responded as private institutions during some of the local disasters in Sierra Leone, one namely being the landslide that occurred in 2017. And there was also some work done by some of our other partner institutions during the Ebola crisis in 2014. So we are currently made up of 3 partner organizations and are 13 members strong. For our goals and areas of expertise, we aim to contribute to establishing a vibrant Sierra Leonean drone ecosystem. And one of our goals is to promote the sustainability of the local robotics ecosystem by building local skills to ensure a flow of young professionals entering the sector. We have we have expertise in GIS analysis and photogrammetry. So we are still quite young, and one of our events that I feel had a huge impact was the promotion of STEM education in Freetown secondary schools. This was done between the 5th to the 22nd of November last year. And what we did was we leveraged our initial contact we had made with secondary schools from our celebrations during Flying Labs Day, wherein we invited select students from these schools to come and participate and learn about drones and what we do. So what we decided to do with this was now to reach out to the schools to ensure students who weren't able to attend our Flying Labs Day event also got to benefit from what we had to say, and also learn more about career opportunities in STEM and various other uses of drones, because there's still a bit of a misconception in Sierra Leone as to what you can use drones for. People still tend to think that they are primarily used in the military or for cinematography, whereas there's a lot of applications in terms of engineering and the rest. So what we really decided to do with this was to visit schools. We visited 10 secondary schools in Freetown and addressed approximately 2,000 students. We were allocated time during the day to visit the schools, which was between 15 to 30 minutes. And during that time, we demonstrated the use of drones, also spoke to them about the various careers they could end up using drones in and the various applications. I think some of the challenges we experienced was, one, based on the time of day, it was hard to really capture the students' interest for long. And also some of the schools, as you can see in the picture, in some of our pictures, had a lot of students, so it was hard to engage them all at that point in time. And we broke ourselves down into smaller teams. So I think especially on this day, it would have been better for us to have at least had more members of the team available to break the assembly down into a smaller group to address the students. The advantage of one of the takeaways from this event was we were able to establish a really good relationship with most of the school's administration and staff. And the schools also expressed their interest in seeing how best we could collaborate to provide youth training activities to students, as well as build the capacity of their students. So going forward, this is something we intend to take I think a lot of my colleagues and members of the team are very passionate about, and we intend to take forward. Another event we had in August last year was a drone meet and greet. This was in the peak of the rainy season, so a lot of operations had been suspended in Sierra Leone, and this event was able to create the right opportunity to bring together various companies and institutions who have been using drones in Sierra Leone. So the first aim was to introduce Sierra Leone to the drone community and also engage actors to understand how drones are being used in Sierra Leone, what are the current capabilities, and what are some of our challenges in terms of operating in Sierra Leone. They also provided us with an opportunity to identify potential areas of collaboration. One of those being, we started discussions about how best we could host a drone exhibition wherein we could showcase the capabilities of the Sierra Leonean drone ecosystem to the broader general public. We also, another key takeaway from this event was, amongst the challenges discussed, there was a lot of discussion around the lack of drone regulations in Sierra Leone. So all those who attended the event started brainstorming as to how best we could help establish drone regulations in Sierra Leone and take that discussion forward with the relevant authorities. Our achievements, I think our greatest achievement to date has been being able to bring together the drone ecosystem via our meet and greet. That helped promote a cohesive and collaborative Sierra Leone ecosystem and has also resulted in numerous opportunities for all those involved. From the Sierra Leone Flying Labs perspective, we've been invited to numerous events in the events. One key event we were invited to participate in was the launching of the drone corridor in Sierra Leone, and we've also been invited to other events to discuss and see how best we can also collaborate with other actors in the space. Future plans and projects. So as I mentioned earlier, we are very passionate about seeing how best we can ramp up trainings for youth and young professionals. And also we have a potential project in the pipeline which would be mapping informal settlements in Freetown to help produce models that can be used for flood modeling, as well as to help in terms of understanding the distribution of facilities within these informal settlements. So thank you very much for your time.
Hello, my name is Stefan Pick. I'm an ex-airline pilot, converted to drones in 2012. I was first an operator and then a consultant in drone systems. I initiated the creation of U0 in 2017, and following articles read on the net, I contacted WeRobotics in 2018 in view of a collaboration, first with Pratik, then with Patrick, and then Sonia. With Sonia, and in partnership with Polytropic, we organized a video conference and RNC UAVs, inviting potential contractors, some scientists, and economic actors. Following this, the La Réunion Flying Lab was created. It was WeRobotics' approach that seduced us. Our field of interest is the whole range of technologies associated with UAVs, air, land, and sea, from the vector to the data processing and analysis. Our will is to bring together all sectors of activity potentially interested in these technologies. We aim at a multi-sector expertise that we want to offer to our members and partners. After having worked with aeronautics industries for more than 2 years on an aeronautics cluster project, this one is starting to see the light of the day at the beginning of this year. Thus, we have joined this future cluster called Aerotech Run ORI. We have joined 3 working groups. First one, creation of a test center for UAVs. Second one, startup support, and third one, organization of a show planned for October 2020. We have formalized 3 important partnerships for the development of U0 La Réunion Flying Labs. First one, a partnership with Polytropic, which is a specialist all in bioeconomy. Second one, a partnership with Run Fab Lab, which is a very well-equipped fab lab, 3D printers, laser cutting, creation of printed circuits, etc. And third one, with the Technopole de la Réunion, which supports project leaders in innovation. These partnerships should enable us to support or trigger innovative projects associated with UAV technologies by working in complementary areas of expertise. In addition, we are planning to organize a webinar with Delair and Qualitropic in the near future. Above all, our greatest achievements during this year's COVID-19 period is to have stayed alive physically and economically. We have managed to get through last year's major social movements that would put us at risk, and we will manage to get through the COVID-19 crisis as well. Then it is the aforementioned partnerships and the aerotech project. Our goal for the future is to continue to expand our partnerships in different sectors. Next, we want to raise funds to equip ourselves with UAVs, payloads, hardwares, and softwares. We would like to offer our members the possibility of testing tools and encourage them to launch new projects with the support of our partners. Thanks for listening.
Hi, good morning. My name is Cherie Cameron. I'm the Flying Labs coordinator for Jamaica Flying Labs, and I'm also a technical expert. Today we'll be presenting on the main achievements for a Flying Lab, and I'd just like to start with a bit of a background. So, Jamaica Flying Labs, we began in March 2019, and originally our managing director, Ms. Valerie Grant, who is the managing director of Geotech Vision, which is an ICT and location intelligence solutions company, she had learned about the Flying Labs network while attending a presentation in Fiji in 2018 of the previous year. So she was inspired to set up this local Flying Lab in our Jamaican branch of operations. And to date, our core team consists of 4 team members. So let's go into a bit of an introduction into the presenters for this presentation. So I have Mr. Josiah Burkett with me, and I'll just allow him to give you an overview of his involvement in the Jamaica Flying Labs. Over to you, Josiah.
Hey guys, good day. My name is Josiah Burkett. I'm a GIS analyst. I'm also a certified drone pilot and technical expert with GIS and UAVs for the Jamaica Flying Labs. I became involved with Flying Labs, as Cherie mentioned, as an extension of Geotech Vision Services. I had started last year right after the launch, and I have been involved in various projects, especially to do with UAVs and training. I like UAVs and data analysis and innovative technology solutions. So that's a bit about myself.
Thank you, Josiah. So just a little intro into my involvement as well. So I'm a geoinformatics specialist by profession. So naturally I became a part of the Jamaica Flying Labs team because this is an extension of our interests and services here at Geotech Vision. So I'm particularly appreciative of JFL aims, and that includes, sensitizing the youth about STEM initiatives, STEM exercises to get them more involved in their career outlook. Also, it's a part of our humanitarian efforts where we primarily focus on drone technology. And lastly, but by no means least, we have capacity building based on the resources available from the JFL. Our extended team members are Valerie Grant, as I mentioned before, our managing director. Valerie is a specialist with over 15 years of experience in geospatial sciences and engaging territories across the Caribbean region. So she's primarily focused in helping the government and other entities to use geospatial solutions to address challenges and meet their corporate needs. Dr. Errol Edwards is a senior consultant at Geotech Vision and is also an industry professional with more than 25 years of experience. He's actively involved in research and training related to the use of GIS and unmanned aerial systems for augmenting the acquisition of geospatial data. So just to go into the main goals of the JFL, so our motto is to create a future where local communities use robotics for social good. And our main objectives include increasing productivity and efficiency in different sectors using drone technology, promoting STEM activities for youth development, and sensitizing stakeholders in the power of utilizing drones for social good. So I'm just going to hand over to Josiah, who will just tell us a bit more about our main projects and activities. Josiah, over to you.
Hey guys, so for our main projects that we have undergone within the past year, this included aerial surveying project of St. Martin, the Dutch side, and Jamaica Flying Labs assisted in collecting this aerial imagery utilizing drones at a high resolution level. And this tied into some of social good because St. Martin had been hit with a hurricane and the World Bank was assisting them with recovery, reconstruction, and resilience. So not only did we utilize the drone imagery to see what areas had been affected still or have not fully recovered, as well as collect data that they could build out on. So our objectives included providing some digital elevation models, digital surface models, and digital terrain models that they can use now with this GIS data to prepare for the future and build out more data sets. Some of our challenges with this project included the fact that team members weren't too familiar with the island. So when they had gone to execute the data collection, the resources were limited in terms of mobilization. So they had some challenges navigating the changes in terrain. As I mentioned earlier, we wanted high resolution data. So areas that were hilly, the drone had to somewhat be elevated so that it isn't too close to the surface. But nonetheless, we were able to somewhat find a workaround. Another challenge was that the data files were very large, so the methods of transfer took some time, especially some of the stakeholders being in different parts of the world. We tried to do this data transfer online, so sometimes it took almost a day to get some of the files shared. But as I said, nonetheless, we tried different solutions and we got it right. For other training activities that we executed, we did a Jamaica Flying Labs Fly Like a Girl camp. And this was targeting young girls aged 12 to 16. Hence the title, Fly Like a Girl. We wanted to somewhat include young ladies in STEM activities, as we had identified that sometimes, females tend to shy away from technologies and just leave it for the boys. But we wanted to create a safe space so that they can feel comfortable, handling technology and learning more about GIS and UAVs. And this was our first camp through the JFL network, but we had some challenges with marketing the camp because once school closes, a lot of the schools lose touch with the students. But nonetheless, we were able to get 5 students to participate. This took place in August 2019, and it went on for 1 week. And the end result was a lot of good feedback and encouragement to attend the next one. Moving on to our achievements as well. For this year, I myself had completed a global drone solution recreational pilot license course. This was via the WeRobotics network, and it was very informative to build on my UAV knowledge, not only with training students, but executing basic UAV procedures all over the world that would allow me to fly anywhere, knowing that I'm following the right regulations and practices. And we also had promoted our events at various conferences, including the International Built Environment, the Learn Fest Jamaica, and the EURESA Caribbean chapter at Trinidad, as well as the Virtual Geospatial Summit Worldwide, which occurred in April. Also, we have our Stories of Hope with the aim of more marketing our Flying Labs network and allowing more students and young professionals to engage with us. And finally, plans and future projects mainly include our virtual GIS camp, focusing on disaster resilient communities, and this also ties into the reality of COVID-19. So we are trying to find a way to execute a camp acknowledging the limitation of being able to physically meet with students. So this is one of our main plans. We also intend to launch our young professional clubs that would further promote youth engagement, utilize more drones as social goods, and hopefully attending our JFL retreat, whether it's in person or virtual, which would encourage continued capacity building for team members. So I'd like to thank you guys for listening. On this slide, you can see our contact information. If you have any questions or any comments, be sure to reach out to us to find out more on these initiatives.
Great. So thank you very much for our speakers. And now we will open the question and answer session. So if you have any questions for any of our speakers, please feel free to unmute yourself and address our speakers.
Hello. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Okay. So my question is for the first. Sorry, I missed the name. I think it's Sierra Leone Flying Lab. Yes. You mentioned about creating a drone ecosystem in your country. I'd just like to have some more insights into, I guess, the main objectives for that, as well as who are the main stakeholders or participants involved in that network.
Thanks, Shiri. Koinguma, would you like to answer?
Sorry, the question again is one, who are the main participants?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what we seek to do is there are a couple of things we seek to do. One is to help facilitate and develop the ecosystem by ensuring we have a flow of young professionals with the prerequisite skills that are capable of, implementing and undertaking drone projects. So right now, the ecosystem is, we already have an ecosystem, and right now it's now just really bringing various actors together. So there's one, the civil aviation. We also have a government institution, which is called the Directorate of Science, Technology, and Innovation, and innovation. And then we have a lot of other private institutions. So when the last year in November, the drone corridor was set up, and that also involves some of the universities. So the idea really now is to see how best as a Flying Labs we can help build the capacities of the young, be it secondary school students or be it young professionals, to also be able to participate and also, what's the word, sorry. And also, yeah, apart from participate, also slowly flow into the ecosystem.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you both. So here's a question from Tiam from Seneca Flying Labs for Jamaica Flying Labs. So he wants to know if you could share more about the island mapping and the size of the island and what drone was used and how long it took for you to complete the data collection.
Okay, thank you, Tiam. Josiah, if you want to go ahead, you can. So good morning again. So I'll have Josiah share about the size. I can't recall the size at this moment, but we use the EB RTK and the EB Plus drones, and it took approximately about 2.5 weeks for data collection because we actually encountered some issues in the field. We had a major drone accident. So it took us some time to send a replacement unit. So the activities were actually scheduled for about 2 weeks of data collection. For the size, I'll allow Josiah to remind me about the size.
Awesome. Hey, morning everyone again. Sorry I was muted, but it's approximately about 20 square kilometers. The area mapped, that is, because some areas weren't necessary, especially the hilly terrain with no sort of settlement and stuff. So we kind of focused on the built up areas, places where persons were mostly affected and we are aware were mostly affected. And as Sherry said, based on the terrain and stuff, we had a few hiccups with the drone. So it kind of pushed back the time, but it still fell within the amount of time we allotted to collect the data.
And we also mapped only one half of the island. The island is split into 2 sections. It's controlled by a Dutch territory and I think it's a French territory. So we only mapped the southern half of the island.
I saw the question on landing space. I wasn't part of the data collection team. I was more the data processing, but I am aware, yes, it was difficult. It was very difficult for them. Yeah. Some of the issues that happened was actually with the landing, trying to get it right because some areas are really tight, especially if you're doing it in built up areas. But yes, we were able to find landing space.
Thank you both. Hope that answers to your question, Tiam. Do you have further question? Well, he asked if you were able to find landing space for an EB on an island.
Yes, Josiah addressed that just now.
Ah,
Yeah.
sorry.
So
Yeah, the
in
answer is
different
yes.
circumstances, they would have landed in a circular pattern or along a runway.
Okay, great. Thank you. So here's another question from Anna from the Panama Flying Labs. So this question is for Sierra Leone Flying Labs. Could you tell us the age range for the activity to engage the STEM?
Right now, the age range is, we're just looking at secondary school students, which was from, say, 12 to 17 or 18. And then the idea after that is to also really engage university students afterwards.
Okay, thank you. And the next question is for La Réunion Flying Labs. What's the objective of the project focusing on the several kind of UAVs, air, land, and sea? And if it's research, where would be implemented? Stefan, over to you.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. So what is the objective of the project focusing on the several kinds of UAVs, air, land, and sea? And about its research, what and where would it be implemented?
Well, in fact, we are interested in all technologies about the drones. So flying drones, rovers, or UVs, or drones on the sea, for instance, and all applications about it. So I don't know if I respond, if my answer is correct or not.
Yeah, did that answer your question, Anna?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so you presented that you are interested in the old ways of technology, but you see that finance mostly work for social good, right? So do you is your focus to implement that technology on social good, or also for research, or I don't know, maybe for universities or for government, or what is the objective of using that technology?
Yeah, for goods, of course, and all application possible, except military applications. So we are interested in all sectors, all activities.
Okay.
Which can benefit from the drones.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you both. Stefan, do you want to go ahead and ask your questions directly for Jamaica and Sierra Leone?
Okay, it's I don't know if you could answer. It's about it's a question to Jamaican Flying Lab and Sierra Leone Flying Lab. So, because it's a problem we have in La Réunion Flying Labs, how did you get funds and from where? Is it from private companies, institutions, or others in order to do what you do, to get material, to get softwares, etc.
All right, thank you for your question. So I'll go ahead and I can start answering this. So Jamaica Flying Labs is I would say, uniquely positioned in the local sector in Jamaica, in that it's positioned with strategic partners such as Geotech Vision, which I mentioned is like the parent company of Jamaica Flying Labs, also Marley Technology Park, and a few of our leading suppliers such as Leica and Ruid, who provide geospatial equipment and software. So to date, our activities have been funded, and it's not only funding, but even resources, human resources, and other commitment to drive our activities. So we've to date received funding from WeRobotics microgrant program. So we've been a recipient from that. We've also benefited from monetary sponsorship from Marley Technology Park. In terms of human resources, we would pull resources from the private company Geotech Vision. So that helps us to drive our activities. But indeed, we've also encountered funding as an issue. In the last project, our last project was significantly discounted because of the nature of that project. So that's our approach to our activities to date.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, so this is our first year, and we've really been using a lot of our own resources, but we are slowly working towards a situation wherein some of our activities can also, or will also be able to at least subsidize, or we will be able, we'll be able to ramp up our activities to a point where we can cover most of our costs via the, charging for some of our activities. But yeah, right now, in terms of human resources, it's been a split between us and some of our partner institutions, namely Intergems and Sensi Tech Hub. And yeah, that's how we've been operating so far. But we've also been granted access to software from WeRobotics, and I think other software, which has also been made available to most flying labs.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you all. Does anyone else have further questions or comments?
I have, I guess, another question for Sierra Leone Flying Labs. I heard about your meet and greets, and I'm actually hoping to somewhat copy that strategy. Could you just tell us a bit more about, I guess, how was it for you to organize such an event? Were you well received by, for example, government institutions? Were they, on board, or was it like really difficult for you to get the commitment for persons to show up at this meeting and to, I guess, just plan for a cohesive partnership?
So one of our members is a government institution, and that I think has assisted us in some ways, especially in terms of what we do. However, not all the institutions we invited showed up, so our turnout wasn't on the high side. However, I think what we really were able to benefit from was the huge presence from private institutions, and so I guess I guess it depends on your relationship with like some of your government institutions. And I remember a conversation I had with Tiam from Senegal Flying Labs, wherein he mentioned, you know, as one of the ways in terms of building some of the relationships, I think he mentioned, I think Senegal Flying Labs had at some point offered trainings for government institutions, namely like I think their Civil Aviation Authority. And I think that's something we're also trying to do after COVID. And that, I think some of those activities may also help bring on board and help with your buy-in from other institutions. But apart from that, I think it went well, because even though the turnout was relatively lower than we expected, the conversations were really good, and it really shed a lot of insight into some of the challenges in the ecosystem. I mean, the capabilities in terms of what sort of skills we have. If we had, obviously we don't, now based on the discussions, we now know like we don't have any pilots who can fly beyond visual line of sight and the rest. And there are one or two institutions that have fixed wings. But yeah, it really just shed a lot of light in terms of what we have, what we can do, the human resources and challenges just operating in our own environment, which I think would be valuable information to you. So I definitely think you should go ahead and see how best you can organize one.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned Senegal is hosting training for engagement?
No, so I had a conversation with Tiam. Maybe Tiam can shed more light into that, but he mentioned that at one point in time, I think when they were first established, they offered trainings for the Civil Aviation Authority to also bring in and get their buy-in in terms of developing the skills and allowing staff within the civil aviation to really understand what drones are about and, you know, just the basics around how they work.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. I just needed some clarification. Thank you.
Yep.
Yes, thank you both. We have a few more minutes, so if you want to share from your experience, please go ahead, Tian.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. This afternoon in my country here right now is 2 p.m. past almost 3. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Good. Yeah. So the experience Bimba was talking about Sierra Leone is actually a strategy that we developed at local level in Senegal, which so far has been, I would say, successful in some way. Because we know we are in French-speaking countries, it's hard to get people buy into the way we want to do things, then we really want to help our communities. So we kind of like invested our energy and time into promoting the services and programs that we are working on by opening our doors to many partners. We develop a lot of partnership, and as part of that, sorry. So we develop a lot of partnership, and as part of that, we share our knowledge. So we were able to get into the civil aviation authorities by training 15 of their staff on drones, on drone and data, and the importance of drones and security. We also did another training together with support with WeRobotics. Joseph was here, and we invited over 25 government departments and agencies into that meeting for them to learn about drone operations and drone data. And most of the time, we only just need to look for one partner locally to kind of like sponsor part of the activity. But let me say, if you need to do it in an hotel, a conference room in an hotel, it costs money. The partner kind of like take care of that, and then we take care of the knowledge sharing. So it's kind of like a montage that we need to always try to do. So depending on the ecosystem in your country, try as much as you can to build relationship with universities, build relationship with few local NGOs and government institutions where you can share knowledge with them. They won't pay you for this, but at least they will be able to get to know you. So by that is your investment for you to be known. And when you are able to do that, by meeting those agencies and those partners, you are able to also share your experience with them, share your work with them, and it might open doors for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tiam. That was really insightful. So does anyone else have further questions or for any of our speakers or for Tiam from our speakers as well? We still have a few more minutes left. All right. So I think we can wrap up our webinar for today. And if you have any further follow-up questions or comments for any of our flyers or for WeRobotics, then please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you again for everyone for joining our webinar today. And thank you very much for our speakers as well. And I wish you all good end of your week.
Once again, Yongo.
Thank you, Yongo. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.